The additional expense of having a 6-hour office assistant at Franklin Children's Center. As you can see, the other one was 67. The elimination of the business office coordinator was 67,500. We're adding a 6-hour office assistant to support Franklin Children's Center, and the cost is only going to be 35,050. Additional revenue. Because we're closing down the classroom at Parma Children's Center, and we're losing a couple of children, full-day children, at Franklin, because we have 2 rooms of 15. We can only have 24 in the room. So there's 6. What we're doing is realigning that revenue to half-day. Half-day preschool, we get $22 and $21.22. Full day, we get $34.38 per day per child. So the difference, which is what we receive for the afternoon for a full day, is $13.16. So as you can see, and there seems to be a need, halfway through the year I could tell, well, after reviewing our second quarter reports, I could tell we were probably not going to meet our contract expectations. We opened up a classroom in January, an afternoon classroom, half-day classroom, half-day preschool over at Santa Barbara Community Academy. We filled, and we have stayed filled, and right now Santa Barbara Community Academy in our pre-enrollment is full for the fall. So I think that there is a need, and so what we're doing is realigning from the lost children that we'll have over at Parma and the few at Franklin Children's Center. We're going to have an afternoon kindergarten or afternoon pre-K program on the Franklin campus. So what we're doing is realigning, as we're losing children, we're realigning them to half-day instead of full-day. Total savings is $281,300. And that's, again, without the reduction in state funding. That's if we continue to operate. Now, in regards to the coordinator, the reason why the coordinator position isn't up here, when you take what has been spent this year on coordinator and program director, there's no additional cost. So, proposed reductions and enhancements with a 15% reduction in state funding. As you can see, it's $641,000 we would have to cut if the state came to us and said that we would need to reduce our funding by 15%. There'd be a reallocation of my salary, and more of my salary would be moved over to ACES programs to reflect the loss in revenue. $6,000. Elimination of a housekeeper position, which would be $14,000. Reduction in the district contribution would be $36,650. And then we would have to look at closure of programs or programs, giving us a total savings of $641,000. Now, if by chance we do receive a 10% reduction in our standard reimbursement rate, I was thinking the $281,000, I would need to make up another $120,000 to make that difference. I anticipate at this point that we're probably going to be underspent in our contract this year. That's what I'm projecting, and that we might be able to put some of it into reserve. We've been operating without a reserve for years, and we need to get back to putting that back in, and the state will allow us to do that. Might you have any questions or comments?
Questions or comments from the board? Ms. Lamone?
One quick question.
Yes.
On one of the last items where you talked about closure for programs in the non-PowerPoint, but the description that we got, you talk about every child would be placed, but you have to close programs. So it reads, no child currently enrolled in the program would be displaced. We would be unable to enroll the same number of children as in 2010, 2011. It seems to contradict itself a little bit, but can you elaborate on that? Mm-hmm.
If it comes to the point that we need to close down a program or programs, this would be probably the 8-hour children's centers. Mm-hmm. What we would do is we would maintain it until the day before school begins. At that point, say we choose Parma. Just I don't know, research would have to be done. But say we choose Parma, 2/3 of those students are going off to kindergarten. The other third would be moved over to and reallocated either Las Flores or Franklin Children's Center. So we wouldn't displace anybody. We would keep it as relatively painless as possible. But we would not be able to come back and fill in those 65 slots that we just lost.
Okay. All right.
And you know what? Everybody's facing the same thing. Rooms are closing down, and it's just, what did you say? It's not a happy time, or?
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Okay, yes, Ms. Parker?
Yes, going back to closure of programs, I understand, and I mean, the reality is, it's a shame. I mean, it's more than a shame. It's just going in the opposite direction from what we need to be going in. But if the state doesn't provide funding for 65 students, then we can't provide services for 65 students. And I appreciate the way that it would be structured, so it would be that 65 new students wouldn't be being enrolled. We would not be eliminating services for any existing students.
Correct.
Parma would be a possibility. What are the other possibilities in terms of 8-hour?
Mm-hmm. Well, we could look at Las Flores,
Las
but that's
Flores.
only a small program. I have some concerns about
Okay.
about Parma.
Uh-huh.
The facility's not in the greatest shape.
Mm-hmm.
Staff have actually come to me
Mhm.
and talked to me about safety issues over there.
Mhm.
Recently, around 5 o'clock, there was a fire in the restaurant right over the fence. Nobody notified the staff. Nobody notified the district or child development office. And the teacher walked out with some parents and went, "Oh my gosh." Also recently, they had a burglary at a jewelry store. Place was swarming with police. It's like nobody even knows that Parma's even there behind those doors. A lot of times people, what's ended up happening is they've gone to a doorbell situation and people answer the door, staff answer the door, but it's because strangers have walked in off the street, and yes.
Wow.
So from safety and security reasons, and also to the lack of supervision, the fact that we don't have anybody over there to supervise,
Right.
65 is a lot.
Yeah.
And the facility's not
Yeah.
in the best condition.
Well, and
That's an option,
yeah.
but it's an option.
And I had noticed in being over there that the security is not what I see in just in terms of the fencing situation and you know the key code to go in, that what I'm used to at a lot of other preschools. That was different. I was so struck, and this is really a question for Mr. Hetjonk, that I went back and looked at our facilities master plan for both Las Flores and for Parma, and it's as if they didn't exist as district properties. They were not addressed in the facilities master plan at all. And now I know that we just had a 7-Eleven committee that looked at Parma as, you know, as sort of almost a side issue because they were looking at Santa Barbara Junior. But I was so surprised that we didn't ever have our consultants look at that, and I don't know if there was a specific reason why.
I don't have a good answer for you. I assume it was the master plan was assumed to be K-12, and nobody ever asked it to be pre-K-12, and therefore it wasn't included.
Well, it was definitely a hole that because it would be helpful to go back and see, you know, to have had that sort of district level conversation. It is. I think that I don't know that we would have gotten any further than what we just got out of the more recent committee that looked at it and essentially, you know, wasn't looking at it at a programmatic level beyond this has always existed for Parma. They were just looking at Parma, and therefore it should continue to exist forever. But it is always helpful to have options for all of our properties, you know, when things change. So
I agree with Mr. Hetjonk. I think we were just looking at the
K-12.
K-6 schools, the 7-8 schools,
Yeah.
the 9-12. I will say that we've had a major discussion about what kind of a study we'd undertake if we were to close facilities, and of course we'd look at supervision and safety, we'd look at adequacy of facilities. We'd also look at distance from residents so that we'd serve the population as best we can.
Thank you. And I just want to say here, Ms. Badger, that I'm very impressed at how much has been done in a very short amount of time. And I know that this is, you know, you're facing the for us, we see it at a macro level. You're seeing it at, I'm sure it doesn't feel it like it's at a micro level, but you're going through everything that we're all going through. And it's not a good time to take on this job, but thank you for the work that you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. It's been my pleasure. And I really believe that on the other end, we're going to come out stronger and better. So, and be able to deliver really, really fine-tuned, quality early childhood education to the families that we serve.
Thank you. We need that optimism.
We are.
Okay. Do we have, oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to make a
Well,
comment
I
or
just
question?
wanted to thank you too, because you haven't had very long and you've had an awful lot on your plate to pull together, and I'm really impressed
Thank
with
you.
the plan that you've come up with. And I understand that when you tell people about the cuts, that some of them are trying to contact our legislators, and
Yes.
they're not getting a lot of hope at that end.
Matter of fact, I walked onto a school campus today, Franklin Children's Center, and parents were calling our legislators, two of them, both Assemblymember Doss Williams and also to Senator Strickland. And it reached the point that the staff at the other end said, "Would you please stop calling?" My comment to this person was, "You need to ask them, what are you going to do about it?" So, we have I have been really diligent. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. I've shared this with staff. Every 2 weeks, I send out notices in terms of budget updates, trying to communicate, because that will either make it or break it for the child development program. And so we've made a concerted effort, and we'll continue to do that. And we also have notified parents and asked them to contact legislators either by phone or also too in written form. So, our voices need to be heard throughout the state. And I must admit, I think that they have from the child development program here at Santa Barbara.
And I don't know if you have a response to this or if anyone does, but I read recently and was surprised to see, and I guess maybe not too surprised, that transitional kindergarten is actually potentially on the chopping block.
Yes.
And there's also discussion about accelerating the age start date for kindergarten, so that, I mean, as a cost savings, to basically exclude more children from coming to school earlier, sooner. So, I know there's a lot of talk about transitional kindergarten, but it might not be an option at all.
No, it may not be
So-
an option.
I'm just going to ask as if we have a motion.
I will move that we approve the Santa Barbara School District's Child Development Restructuring Plan.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0, and I want to thank you for a very clear plan.
Thank you. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm sure the staff will thank you also. Thank you.
Okay, so we will move on to item E4, approval of resolution number 2010/11-52, declaring Wednesday, May 11th, 2011 as Day of the Teacher and demanding action by the California Legislature to provide adequate funding for education. And Dr. Sarvis, you will explain this item?
Well, this resolution serves a couple of purposes. One, of course, is to recognize the importance of teachers in the education of our children and the importance of having an educated citizenry in our democracy. Since the 29th annual Day of the Teacher is declared to be tomorrow, we would like to pass this resolution today to honor our teachers. But at the same time, we know that there is a crisis in the state budget. We've responded to that crisis by continuing to make cuts. We are into our 5th year of cuts. We have some $10 million on the table right now in anticipation of this next year. We don't know how that will turn out. We have advertised openly our desire to go to furlough days rather than to cut teaching positions. But the ultimate answer to this, nevertheless, is that at the legislative level in California, we need help. We need to have this be seen as an emergency, and we need responsiveness and not let our kids be victims of this, but to work to resolve this at the legislative level.
Thank you. So I think we have one public comment by Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Lane Wheeler, President of San Bernardino Teachers Association. I'd like to thank you for bringing this proclamation to a vote this quickly. It's much appreciated, and it is certainly to recognize, it says Day of the Teacher, but it certainly is to recognize all of our educational professionals that we represent under our certificated unit: psychologists, adaptive PE specialists, special ed teachers, counselors, speech and language folks, folks in alternative programs as well as mainstream programs. So it's really the depth and breadth of our entire contract. I would like to also speak to what Dr. Sarvis so eloquently put forth. You all are having to make hard decisions and as to which arm of our budget you're going to cut off, the left or the right. And it's time for us to stop collectively that mentality and to create an environment where education is funded in a way that provides at least the minimum support that it's necessary. We are the eighth largest economy in the world, and yet we are stealing our future from our children because we cannot figure out how to fund education properly. We collectively is not the problem. We collectively in Sacramento is the problem, and we are calling on our members to contact legislators, to contact parents and ask them to contact legislators. It's the second time I've heard that Tony Strickland's office has said stop calling, because I don't really want to hear what the people want in California. I want to have my own personal opinion of it, and I want to dictate what that's going to look like. So I would thank you again for passing this. We are celebrating the Day of the Teacher tomorrow, and our school nurses and and all of our educators, and we look forward to being able to share a little ray of hope with them in this very troubling time. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion? I'm sorry, do we have any discussion? Ms. Parker?
I will make a motion that we approve resolution number 2010/11-52 in support of declaring May 11th, 2011 as Day of the Teacher and demanding action by the California legislature to provide adequate funding for education. I do want to add that I really have transitioned in my mind and in my writing now to people that contact me about so many issues that have to do with our what's going on here in our district. It used to be that I would talk about the state fiscal crisis, and that I would talk about state budget cuts and our budget cuts, and now I write about legislative inaction, and that it is fundamentally about our politicians in Sacramento not moving forward or letting the people take a vote on moving forward in some way. And I, in some ways, you know, passing resolutions, it just feels like, you know, a small thing. It's an important thing. I do think it's so important for us to have at least one day that we're celebrating teachers. It feels like these days they're under so much attack, and both monetarily and just in the press, and it has felt like such a negative time. So I hope that we can all support this, and I hope that we can move past this.
Thank you. So,
I'll second the motion.
great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. And I hope that our teachers and educational professionals know how much we value their work and the commitment that they make to our district.
Thank you, Ms. Cordero. Would you like to note that we will omit the last item, F2, but since it's after 10 o'clock, you'll probably have to note that we're going to continue on whichever items you'd like to continue on, and we have our Dance Institute presentation ready to go soon.
So we will be eliminating item F2 from the agenda. Against my wishes, since I have to be at surgery tomorrow at 7, we are going to continue with our agenda. So item E4, item E5, the approval of board action on student discipline case numbers 10/11-10.
In case number 10/11-10, I move that we approve the stipulated agreement for a one school year expulsion.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Then we have a presentation, and thank you for waiting. Presentation by the Santa Barbara Dance Institute, Rosalina Macisco, and you will be presenting. Okay, great, thank you. We can use a little entertainment at this time of the night.
At Solving School, my philosophy is that we want to educate the whole child. The SBDI is perfect for that because all different aspects of learning are taught through Miss Rosalina, and some things that you can't teach in the classroom.
If you're in Miss Rosalina's class, you should expect energy, 100% of everything, and control of yourself and your mind.
Frank has not been in the United States very long. He has limited English. So in the classroom, he is pretty limited on his talking and his interactions. Once we started the dance program, everybody was like, whoa, Frank, you are so awesome. It completely changed Frank, I think, as far as his interaction with the rest of the kids and how the kids perceive Frank.
At the end of the year, I asked the children to write what was the most valuable thing they got out of third grade. And he said, I know I can dance. And he wrote this beautiful little page about it. It was socially awkward, and this child was very bright. He got top scores in tests, and I thought that's where his self-esteem would lie. That's utterly wrong. His self-esteem was based on, I can dance.
Part of our structure is that we have a performance at the end, and this is critical to the program. This is the success.
They're visualizing the stage, they're visualizing how they're going to get out of the stage, they know their places, they know their marks. It's a wonderful talent to develop in children to see into the future and know something is coming and know that they will be able to handle this because they've got it down, they know what to do.
You get to perform in front of millions and thousands of people, and I really like doing that.
The studies have shown that children who do these kinds of activities are less likely to become involved in drugs, gangs, and they're more likely to be involved in music and dance and other activities later in life that are going to promote a healthy lifestyle.
And I would love to have our state and federal politicians come and watch the dance program to remind all of them that it's not just about test scores, but it's about creativity and developing the kids as whole people.
In the future, there's things that are going to come up, and you won't be nervous. And you're going to be telling other people, oh, it's not scary. Just you have to believe in yourself.
Thank you so much for having me here today. Good. I wish I could just speak from my heart and from what I know, but maybe in a next life I'll be a public speaker. So for right now, I'm going to read. I've worked at many schools in the past 10 years, and I see that schools are struggling with limited finances, the academic performance of English learners, and enough time in the day to offer art programming. Our community is also suffering from a growing disparity between the haves and the have-nots, reflected in an escalating gang violence. The physical health of our children is suffering because there's childhood obesity and diabetes, which are now highest among the Latino children. So the SBDI programs directly address these issues. So how do we do this? First, we're using dance as a vehicle to teach children how to succeed in life, targeting schools that work with low-income and poverty-level students, schools who lack quality art programming. The second are the instructors. Not only are our instructors professional artists, but each spends at least 2 years learning our unique teaching methods. This methodology is precise, it's disciplined, it's challenging and fun. It inspires children to realize their own potential. They believe in themselves, they value artistic expression, and they develop their own personal standard of excellence. Third is the structure of this program. At each elementary school, SBDI works for a full year with one or more grade levels, providing the consistency to initiate lasting change in children. The structure is based on a flexible managing style to adapt to the features of each individual school. So today, SBDI serves 8 schools and about 400 children a year. Since we started in 2005, we have served close to 2,000 school children. Fourth and lastly is our show. This is the culmination of our programs. It's a professional show performed not by professionals, but by the students themselves. This show provides them with an experience of success that becomes truly a benchmark for the rest of their lives. So, what are the results? Our annual surveys conducted over the past 5 years with both school teachers and the students show that more than 61% of our students achieve higher grades after attending our programs. That's huge. 84% of participating children show improvements in general behavior. 89% state improvements in critical life skills, such as teamwork, focus, concentration, commitment, and respect, which is, I think, why they get the higher grades. But anyway. These results have been verified by Professor Horowitz of Columbia University in assessment of our teaching methodologies. So now this is kind of an off quote, but according to Mother Teresa, one of our greatest tragedies of poverty is not the lack of food or roof over your head, but the feeling of being no one, the lack of identification, the lack of public esteem. A child's development in the SBDI program gives them an identity and makes them a role model for their family and community. It makes them a better student at school. So to summarize, what are the benefits of SBDI to the school and community? 1, we save the schools money. Our full-year programs are extremely low cost to schools. We are our own nonprofit and we do our own fundraising. Furthermore, the SBDI programs are offered at no cost to children. Second, we increase school attendance. 87% of teachers stated that the children's attendance increased as a direct result of the SBDI program. We address the social concerns of our community. Our program provides positive alternatives, especially for at-risk male children that might otherwise get involved in gang-related activities. The final show brings together 300 students and families together from vastly different economic and cultural backgrounds. New friendships are formed. And our classes are mixed with children who live in a one-bedroom back house with 6 to 8 family members and children who live in beautiful homes with pools. The dance classes become the great equalizer. 4, we help English learners. SBDI classes are taught multilingual and in a way that benefits kinesthetic learners. This helps unlock success for children who struggle in the traditional classroom. And 5th, we provide a solution for the time issue in schools. Many of the schools we've taught at, we teach in accordance to the California Content Standards for Dance and more than that, but many of the schools have chosen to use programs to meet the PE requirements, the elementary schools. So I came here today to ask for your support. I wanted to request 2 things. 1, if you can come to our show this Sunday, May 15th at 3. And 2, if you could take an hour to meet with us to discuss how maybe we can get our program into more schools.
Thank you very much. A very enlightening presentation, and we appreciate all that you're doing in the schools. Are there questions or comments from the board? Mr. Herron?
Yes, I'm curious. What is the date of your dance?
This Sunday, May 15. This Sunday, May 15 at 3.
Because I told you I couldn't come because of a special new meeting we had.
Right.
But I have you down for Saturday the
Oh,
21st.
Saturday? Sunday, May 15.
Oh, okay. Maybe I can make it.
Great. I didn't give away your ticket yet.
Okay. Ms. Parker?
I would just say that I've seen that show several times and been blown away every time. It's amazing.
You came to the theater?
Oh yeah, I've been to Marjorie. I've seen it like 3 times at this point because I've known so many kids that have done it over the years, and it's very, very impressive.
Great.
Okay. Ms. Deacon?
Well, I'm hoping to make it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to it because I've heard wonderful things. I've seen some of the videos of it. You know, the one thing I would just like to say is we've been talking about independent PE and dance and all that. You're doing fabulous things at the elementary level. And I recently had a music teacher at one of the high schools talk to me about dance as part of PE. And I know that there are dance modules that are incorporated into our PE, but I don't think that we really offer like a semester-long dance opportunity for students that might be in theater that want to do choreography. And we saw some incredible dancing the other night at San Marcos High School, and I know it happens at lots of the schools. So something to think about for the future is to perhaps find PE teachers who have that level of dance experience that could provide that really higher level of dance in the high schools and junior highs too.
Yeah. The dance for the PE, they love it, yeah.
I also think, it's, as you mentioned in your presentation, it's a great way of providing multicultural experiences for students because it could be folklorico, it could be hip hop, it could be a variety of different genres of dance.
And even more than that, it's not even the type of dance that you're doing, more so it's the way we teach. So we'll teach in Spanish. Like I'll go out in Solvang and I'll start teaching in Spanish. And it's incredible the reaction that happens in the room because dance, you don't need to, it's a visual art, so it doesn't have to be spoken.
Exactly. Great. Well,
yeah.
Ms. Limon?
Well, I just want to thank you for the great work that you're doing in our schools. I'm a former dancer. Thank you to the public schools and public entities in Santa Barbara. So I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate how much thought has gone into this because dance is not something that people just get up and move. There's so much more involved. And I think the fact that you're bringing in standards related to dance and helping students think about space, think about body, think about so many other things that I think are important and play themselves out in a lot of sometimes not so good ways in our schools. So thank you for what you do.
Yeah.
Ms. Waski?
I just wanted to add too, I think that probably Kathy Corey has contacted you. We have no idea if we're going to get the grant that I spoke of. We got permission to apply for that. That would infuse dance into our PE classes in the elementary schools, and we're really hoping that you would be open to working with us on that if we get the grant, because that would mean all of our schools would then be able to do, some or part of what you're doing in many of our schools already, and really looking at how it's not a cookie cutter way that it has to be done. We can look at all of the dance, institutes and partners in the city and use them uniquely in different ways in different schools. So I'm hoping that we can talk more. We won't know until next December whether we actually get it or not.
Yeah. Well, what's good with this is that it wouldn't even cost you guys money at this point. It's very, very low cost to the schools.
We charge about 15% of the actual price.
Yeah.
So I'm very open. I mean, I would love to talk with you and Dr. Cynthia White, who oversees curriculum, so that we can see how we could outreach, besides that grant, other ways that we've talked about. Thank
Great.
you.
Ms. Parker?
I'll just finish up briefly in that one of the pieces that I appreciate you talking about is flexibility, because our elementary schools are under tremendous pressure and there's so many demands on those students' time. And between academics and testing and things that principals don't necessarily have control over, and sometimes things have to change, and we need partners that are willing to be flexible, so that when we have great programs come in, there can be an understanding that sometimes it'll work at this school this year and that school the next year, things like that.
Yep.
Because I would love to see your program serving more students. But obviously we have to do within the parameters of available time.
Yeah, and that's how the program has worked so far. The schools committing to the year-long program. That's how you get those statistics, is through the year-long program. That's how you get the higher test scores. That's how you get, and yeah, we've been very flexible within that structure on how to run it, how to do it. Yeah, so.
Well, I just want to address your second point, which is meeting to discuss how to reach more students. And I think that's perhaps what you were referring to, Ms. Swasky,
Great.
of getting together with both Robin and Cynthia White to see if there are ways that we can work together to bring this into more of our schools and have more access to our students. We would love to help you reach more Santa Barbara children.
Great. Awesome.
We would, the more the better as far as we're concerned. So I wish I could commit to being there on Sunday, but
No,
surgery tomorrow. I think I think it's iffy.
Yeah.
But I will be thinking about you because it's something that I think all of us love. I can't claim to have been a dancer, but I did take tap dance class in high school. It was offered at the high school.
See?
And it engendered a lifelong love of tap dance. I'm a tap dancer like I'm a skier. I'm sort of an advanced beginner always. But I think even for those students who are not into theater, who are not into necessarily performing, but just recreationally to be able to take a dance class of any sort, is something that would be great for them. So, and you can see just by looking at them, they have so much fun and enjoyment doing it. So, we
Great.
hope you will reach them all.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, good. I look forward to meeting with you. And great. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for waiting. We appreciate it. That's true. Maybe I'll be dancing by Sunday. Maybe my knee will make me dance. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our agenda since we've removed F2. We do not need to return to the consent agenda for any items. We have a number of coming events, not the least of which are a couple of special meetings. One on May 13th, which is Friday, and there will be a special board meeting. And then also the May 19th will be hopefully our final meeting for the unification issue, and that'll be here in this room. And then our next regular board meeting will be on Tuesday, May 24th. Are there any other coming events that we need to address? Nope. Okay. Future agenda items? I think we have packed agendas already. So that brings us to adjournment, and we will declare the meeting adjourned.